Seagraves wins. Tell me how you've dared and won.
Been saying yes to things before I've been ready. All of those decisions leading into something great. I've started and we're building what has become and is becoming a successful property business. I was 21 and on a whim I applied to go on the game show The Cube. I was lucky enough to win 50k. I remember being sat in my first teaching job in the P office, and I'd gone on my bank account and just on the screen was this £50,000. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. So my wife Tash and I decided that we were going to quit our teaching job. So we decided to buy our first investment property. So we just went, let's do it, let's just see what happens. We had no idea what we were doing. We were like, from the brokers to the buying process, we were just like, what the hell? So we were doing renovations in the day on the phone to tradesmen. We would go in there at night, at the weekend. It was absolute chaos. It was exhausting, but we learned so much. You can listen to podcasts, you can read books, there's so much out there around property, but actually doing it and taking the leap was kind of biggest thing for us. We learned so many things. We made so many mistakes. We were Googling, the builders would say something to us and we'd be like, what are they saying? We quickly realised that property was going to be this vehicle for us. It was going to be something that could give us freedom financially and also time. And we kind of caught this bug. We just thought, yeah, we like this. What can we do next?
Hello and welcome to the Seagraves Wins podcast. And my guest today is Amy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, Amy. Seagraves wins. Tell me how you've dared and won.
I think it's been saying yes to things before I've been ready, taking chances, opportunities, taking risks, and all of those decisions leading into something great. So I've started and we're building what has become and is becoming a successful property business.
Ooh, I'm
Yes.
so intrigued.
Well, I reckon start from kind of the thing that allowed me to even consider going into something different to teaching. I was 21 and on a whim I applied to go on the game show The Cube with Philip Schofield.
I remember this.
Yes.
Okay.
I was teaching at the time on placement, so I was training, and I used to watch the show all the time, play all the little games with the kids, and I just thought, why not? So I applied for it, didn't think I was going to get on, and I did. And when I was on the show, I was lucky enough to win 50k. And they ask you when you're applying, you do like interviews, you have to write like a big script of what would you do with the money. I was thinking, God, don't know. But one of my biggest things is I absolutely love sharks. Like, I'm mad for them. So so it's a weird thing, but I love them. And I was, so I put on the form and I said in the interview, I'd want to go and swim with sharks. So I did do that after I'd won the money.
Do they make you do whatever you say, or is it just kind of...
No, well, they didn't check, but my mum wrote them a big letter and was like, oh, you've made her dreams come true, and sent this awful picture of me in scuba gear to Philip Schofield and the crew. So, no, you don't have to, but I did.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I remember being sat in my first teaching job in the P office, and I'd gone on my bank account and just on the screen was this £50,000. Well, it wasn't, it's like 49 because I was in my overdraft. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. And it took a bit of time and I was thinking, what can I do with this money? Like, I can swim the sharks, but what else can I do? So my wife, Tash, and I decided that we were going to quit our teaching job. So we just got them. And then they wouldn't allow us any time off to travel. So we made the decision to quit. So that was kind of the second risky thing that we decided to do.
How long were you teaching?
A year.
Right, okay.
So I only had the job for a year.
Right.
I asked for a sabbatical and they said it's not something that they do. So it was kind of like, do I stick it out? I loved the school. I was enjoying the job, but I thought, I've got this itch. I want to go traveling. So we took the leap and we did it. And in hindsight, it was probably one of the most kind of influential years in terms of changing our mind shift, that you don't have to stay on this safe, narrow road. There will always be a job when you get back.
Yeah.
We made so many amazing friends, incredible experiences, swam with the sharks. And then when we got back, we were like, shit, we've got to go and find a job now. We're back in reality. We still had this kind of travel backpacking mindset. So we applied, we got other jobs, and in the midst of all of that, we decided to buy our first investment property. So we just went, let's do it, let's just see what happens. we had no idea what we were doing. We were like, from the brokers to the buying process, we were just like, what the hell? So we were learning everything from scratch, but we did it, and we were teaching the day. We were trying.
So you went back to teaching?
Went back to teaching.
Okay.
So we needed money. So we had a mortgage of our own house, which we bought as well. So we had to have some income. So we were doing renovations in the day on the phone to tradesmen. We would go in there at night, at the weekend. It was absolute chaos. It was exhausting, but we learned so much. And I think you can listen to podcasts, you can read books, you can, there's so much out there around property, but actually doing it and taking the leap was kind of the biggest thing for us. We learned so many things. We made so many mistakes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We're going to have to know about some of those.
We so many mistakes. I think I look like I'd be good at DIY, but I am not. I've got no skill set for anything practical. So we were Googling, the builders would say something to us and we'd be like, what are they saying? And we're like, I don't know. So we'd be on Google. It was like before AI was about. So we'd be like, oh my God, don't know. We're like, yeah, do it. So we're kind of just really, really winging it. Felt like massive imposters doing this renovation. And we learnt that it's very, very male dominated.
Yeah.
And as young 20-year-old women, we felt like we had to kind of prove ourselves with the trades, with the agents, and that was quite tough. But we quickly realised that property was going to be this vehicle for us. It was going to be something that could give us freedom financially and also time. And we kind of caught this bug. We just thought, yeah, we like this. What can we do next? So we refinanced that property. So we'd made money because we'd done the renovation, and we pulled money out of it and we bought another one, which is the ugliest house you've ever seen, but it's fine. It's there. And we then realised that we've run out of money. We've got no money left. We couldn't continue to do that process of refurbishing, refinancing and buying something else. So we sat down and we were like, do we just stop there and we just have this nice little rent? We carry on teaching. We go up the ladder in the teaching world. So we pondered on that for a while, and then we decided, actually, no, this is something that we like, quite passionate about. So we remortgaged our own home and we pulled out a bit of equity. And instead of directly buying another property, we invested that in our education. So we got a mentor, we did coaching, we had courses, we submerged ourselves in all things property. And that was where the mind shift happened, that we could stop winging it, we could create a business, and it stopped just kind of being like a passion. And that was a really strong turning point.
Wow. So there's a lot to unpack there. Like, what age, when you say early 20s, like what kind of age were you at when you bought the first one?
So I think about 23.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, most people aren't even buying their first property until
Yeah.
they're in their, 30s, I think it is now, or
Yeah.
if not beyond. And then what's interesting is, having come from the building world,
Yeah.
I'll put some perspective on this. I've also got investment properties,
Yeah.
right? And I bought one of them, this is where ADHD doesn't help, by going in and viewing it, and then the next day bought it,
Yeah.
and then ripped it back to brick within a week, and then went, what the fuck do I do with this property? I still own it, and we'll talk afterwards about whether it's an absolute shit show or not. But as someone from the building trade who's worked with plumbers, electricians, knows a little bit, it was hard still.
work.
So I have absolute hats off to you, because Jesus Christ. And I think the hardest thing, I don't know if you felt this, is maybe dealing with the contractors, not necessarily what has to be done, but I've been sold down the road by a kitchen fitter and been absolutely rinsed. And yet I'm someone that knows the industry. And, time scales, there's so much that goes into it. But also, there's a lot of things on social media now about how you can make property your thing, and you can, and there's
Get
courses,
rich quick and all this.
you navigating that whole thing is incredible in such a, and it's interesting that you said that you went on to do a course, because my brother's done some courses and I'm like, oh, they really worked for you, because he's yet to buy something.
He's in analysis paralysis. The courses just sell you.
Yeah.
You could do this, but most people don't want to take those first steps.
So was it a good experience for you?
Yeah,
Right.
It was the best thing. Without doing that, we would have been in analysis paralysis. We'd have been on spreadsheets. We'd have been listening to people who we believe to be further ahead in terms of their knowledge and their experience. And I don't think we would have taken those first steps. I think it helps because I obviously had the cash.
Yeah.
And I think I had that money, and it was kind of like I didn't have it before. So was it a massive risk for us in that situation? Probably not. But we still were using that money.
A risk's a risk, yeah.
We were using it where we could have spent it elsewhere. But yeah, the trades were the most difficult part.
What were the biggest failures then in your first project?
Oh my God, the worst was a fight. There was like almost a physical fight between a plumber and the electrician. And we just thought, you know what? We'll get them both in at the same time. We'll just pay the day. They'll be fine. They'll work around each other. And we were downstairs just like pretending to hammer stuff. And I could hear one of them up there going, "Why are you here?" It's like, "They've brought me here," and back and forth. And then they just got into this massive argument. One couldn't do their job. The other couldn't do their job. We still had to pay them. We were just like, we don't know what we're doing. Oh my God, how do we manage all of these people? And a lot of it was kind of mansplaining to us. We knew we didn't really know what we were doing, and we knew we felt like an imposter.
Yeah.
And we thought they were the experts, but there were times where we would fact check it, or we'd go away and we'd do our own research, and we were actually like, they're not right. They're kind of trying to get more days out of us. They're trying to create more work. So yeah.
I was like, how quickly do you learn a trait? You can never trust a tradesman.
And I slowly realised which ones I really like. I like a joiner.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
love a
Joiners
joiner.
are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Like,
It's weird.
Yeah, joiners are great. Electricians I'd probably put next.
Yeah, I agree.
And then plumbers.
Yeah.
And then kitchen fitters left me with a real bad sour taste. Like, I think in fact, to the point now where my own kitchen, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to put it in myself. Because,
Have you done it?
No, not yet,
No,
but I will.
Yeah. Impressive. Yeah, but you do.
Yeah, you just, so the imposter syndrome, did you overcome that quite quickly, or?
No, I still probably feel that a little bit now. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why, but I feel less so now. We'll fast forward, like I'm 36, that was at 23. I feel like I'm a property investor now.
Yeah.
But I still have moments where I feel like an imposter.
Yeah. We all don't know everything, don't we? So
Yeah.
it's kind of natural. But
I think you're just constantly learning
Yeah.
in this industry. There's always things that crop up that I've got no idea about, and it's a case of figuring it out and sorting it
As you go
go.
along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things.
And the big aim for this then, so are you both still now employed but doing this on the side, or how's that working in your kind of daily life?
Where was I? So after we refinanced and we pulled the money out, we then were approached by a friend from university called Sophie, and we hadn't connected since we left university, but she was doing her own property investing on her own, and she seen us on social media, she's seen what we were doing, and she reached out and she said, "What are you girls up to? Like, I'm doing something similar." And we quickly realised that we had this same vision. We wanted to grow a business. Mm-hmm. We'd already done a bit, and that we kind of would be better if we joined forces. So myself, Tash and Sophie decided to create Propeller Properties, and that's kind of where the business as it is now started. And we realised that we had this massive differing skill set that actually complemented each other. So like, I know they're not here, but I'll give you a brief kind of explanation of what they do. So Tash is kind of like brand, social media. She does all the visuals, the floor plans. She makes everything look nice. Sophie is the really articulate, astute businesswoman.
Okay.
She is mad for spreadsheets. Like, I'm like, when she's talking to me, I'm like, but she loves them. And she kind of deals with the conveyancing, solicitors, brokers, all of the bits that get the properties over the line. And then I reckon they'd probably describe me as the chaos. I'm kind of the one that leads the day-to-day. So I'm networking, doing things like this, meeting the builders, being on site. I like being around people. I don't like being behind the laptop.
So would you class yourself more as a project manager?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. A project manager that kind of is just overseeing everything.
Yeah.
Which I love doing. And the reason I can do that is because I took, again, another kind of risk way before we were ready. And we decided, we were all chatting and we were like, we can't make viewings. We cannot get on site as often as we want because we're all working full time.
Yeah.
So in order to grow and scale, something needed to give in terms of time. So Sophie works full time in the corporate world in London in property, and Tash still works full time as a teacher.
Okay.
And I was kind of the lucky one that we decided that I would go part time. So I've got more flexibility within the week. And the reason I say I probably wasn't ready is financially, it kind of made me and Tash have to alter what we do day to day. I can't buy 5 pairs of trainers a week. We kind of slightly changed our lifestyle. But in exchange for doing that and taking that risk of going part-time, it allowed us to grow quicker because I could make viewings, I could beat people to deals, I can network, I can meet more investors. So that has been a massive, massive turning point and like something that's been a massive positive to all three of us.
There's always that sticky point, isn't there? And I think a lot of people struggle with that. I've
Yeah.
got friends that are struggling with that now that want to do something, but they're in a job and they can't get the in-between
Yeah.
bit. And I've always been honest that, you know, I also have a day job for one day a week that I do
Yeah.
alongside the show. And I think you've got to find that, but then also knowing when to jump is
Yeah.
hard. And what's interesting is when I started in the studio, I was like, what as a family can we survive on?
Yeah.
Coming from a really high earning engineering background to like, you know, can I survive on a couple of £100 a month? And the reality is, it's scary, but it's quite eye-opening what you can do.
You can do it.
When you really want to
Yeah.
do it. And I think some people are reluctant to because it's like golden handcuffs, isn't it? You go
Yeah.
through life, you tick all these boxes, you get this lifestyle. And it's like the payoff is you've got to, you know, make sacrifices.
Yeah.
And so did you lean into that or was it really hard, that transition?
No, it wasn't. For me, I've trained for 4 years to be a teacher. I then got a job straight away. I then went straight back in after travelling, and that's always been my identity as being a PE teacher. And I still love it. And I know people see property investors. They might listen to podcasts. They might read articles or blogs, and they go, "I've got my first deal. I've left my job. I'm financially free." And it's honestly, it's not the reality. It's like it takes ages, and to step away, I was like head of year. I'm in a school that I absolutely love, and to step away from the identity and that kind of pathway of success in a job that I was comfortable with was the hardest bit, as opposed to the financial sacrifice.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that you've said that because that's something I struggled with as well. There's something you're known as
Yeah.
that you also
And you're good
love. You're good at, and it's stripped away, and you're a beginner again.
Yeah, and that's the bit that I struggled with the most. But I love teaching, and part of being part-time still is because I enjoy it. I think it's a career that gives you a set of skills that are so transferable in business and in property. Like, every student's different, every day is different. You learn to communicate with a variety of different people, work under pressure. And I think without me being a teacher and without that career up to now, I wouldn't have the skills that would enable me to be a successful property investor. So I still love it. It still gives me a steady income. I can still grow the business. So at the moment, I'm not fully ready to step away, but you do have that conflict of when someone asks you, what do you do? What are you? I'm like, oh, am I a PE teacher or am I a property developer?
Yeah.
And I always go, even now I go, I'm a teacher.
I do.
Oh, but I also develop property, and the shift is happening. It is coming, but I still identify as a teacher.
2 years, well, like probably in the last couple of months, when people say to me, "What are you?" and I'm like, a storyteller, podcaster, and that's been hard because my whole identity has been engineer, and I always do that. So it comes.
Yeah.
I think it's a transition, and however long that takes, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah,
But
it
it's. Yeah.
But I love it.
I guess working with kids and working with tradesmen, same thing.
Same. Yeah. And one of the things that I kind of, in the future, I look at, so, you teach classes of kids, and there's some kids in there that are just not suited to education, like that setting. Mm-hmm. And stereotypically, boys go to construction, girls go to hairdressing if they're not suited to that stereotypical educational setting. And I just think, why can't the girls go to construction, get a trade? I'd love to have just women working for me, who go in, take their shoes off, clean up after themselves, have this professional manner, as well as being super skilled at what they do.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
think it's a missing,
yeah.
I've always said it's a missing piece. Like, I fell into it and didn't know that it existed.
Yeah.
And I think now it's through social media, it's getting better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's a skill set that we have. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can't hog carry bricks now anyway. Guys can't do that. It's not allowed on site. So like the whole you can't be a brickie unless it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like one of the girls that I think she's on social media quite a bit, who was a bricklayer, fantastic career.
Yeah.
I know crane drivers. Like, yeah, the skill set applies. And actually, I think the thing that women can bring is the compassion,
Yeah.
not doing stupid shit. Like, it would be so much safer if we had more women on site.
It would.
Because you're just like, we don't do stuff like cut through electrical cables or like, flashbacks of absolute dire stuff happens. That's really nice actually, because then you get to inspire.
Still teach.
Yeah.
Still part of that environment, but then
Yeah.
also using it to be in the property world.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I love being around people. Like I've spoken to on this journey, lots of people have reached out, men and women, and asked like, where are we on our journey? And they tell us their stories and things. And when you meet somebody who's doing it on their own, they find it quite a lonely place. And for me, the biggest asset of the business is the fact that, not that we're three women, just that we're three people.
Yeah.
And that we work together as part of a team. I quickly realised that I don't like working in isolation. So I've played football for 20 odd years, retired about 2 years ago, and I just love being part of a team, like sharing highs and lows with people, different skill sets, learning from others. So us being together as a three is the biggest asset for me, and it's something that's allowed us to get where we are now. And I love that, and I'd love to expand the team. Like we talk about this power team that you get, so you have to have people around you who are experts, so brokers, solicitors, architects, etc. And through trial and error, having some not great ones, some really good ones, we've kind of built this power team around us, and a lot of those people are women.
That's great.
And some of them are incredible. And even just the conversations on the phone, asking them to explain things to us, it's so collaborative, and being part of that wider team and growing that team is one of the most enjoyable things for me in the business.
And what's the hardest, like, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned?
Not taking action, stopping and going, we've made a mistake, and sitting on it and beating yourself up and dwelling and wasting time. Time is money. So whether we're on a bridge and it's got massive interest rates, whether we've got trades on site that we're paying and not actually taking action, I think if you take the action, you will make the mistakes, but you can rectify them quick, and you will learn and you won't do them again. So as we've gone through project, they've got better and better and better, and they've only got better because of the things that we've done wrong and then taking action to fix them. So it's that not staying still, not going back, not panicking, just moving forward.
How do you get, as someone that sometimes suffers from that paralysis?
Yeah.
Right now, actually this week. How do you, are there any tools that you use to push through that?
Just think, what is the worst that's going to happen? At the end of the day, the biggest impact is going to be financial. We have got to the point now where the business is safe. We are at a point where, we can afford not to make massive negative decisions. But if it does happen, we will survive.
You've got a safety net.
We'll survive.
Yeah.
We can sell. It's bricks and mortar. We can sell those buildings. We can sell the properties. So it's just kind of thinking, what is the worst that's going to happen is you go bankrupt. And for us, that's not going to happen at this stage. So it's kind of, well, it might, but we're comfortable enough that the decisions that we make are not going to be super detrimental. And it's kind of constantly having that mindset and saying, I don't know everything, other people don't know everything, let's find out the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relying on other people, experts, like, I've got no idea about accountancy. I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
So I pay somebody to do that.
Yeah,
we pay somebody to do it.
Know your strengths and know your weaknesses.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's, as someone that starts something on their own and doesn't have, I actually was doing a podcast this morning and this came up. So somebody who's in your position now and they've got a job, maybe the job's part-time, they want to buy their first property, but they're on their own, and they don't have that support system as yet, what advice would you give them?
So there's a couple of things that you can do. You could join forces like we have, so like network, reach out to people who might be in a similar position and just have a chat, see whether your goals align, see whether you've got the same skill set, different skill sets, what can you offer each other, and kind of make a team. The other thing that you can do, which for us is, so at the moment, kind of our two main goals is we raise finance, private finance, and then we find great deals. The rest of the business is pretty systemized. We've got good build teams, we've got good solicitors, brokers, etc. So our focus is on those people and building those relationships. So we've got an incredible woman called Marie, and hopefully she doesn't mind me mentioning her name. And when we very first started out and we had even more imposter syndrome, if you like, we were like, how do we raise private finance when all we've got are these properties that we've done on our own? We haven't got that much credibility yet, but we know that we can do it. How do we build that credibility? And Marie was a full-time nurse. She was running a voluntary soup kitchen and she had these savings, and she was kind of in that same situation where she's like, I want to do something, but I haven't got the confidence. And also her husband or her partner got sick, so she was like, I need to step away from nursing. I want to care for him. I want to be with him. And so she reached out to us and she said, I love what you're doing, girls. I love that it's 3 women. I love property. I love interiors. I've got this money. What can we do? So we said, you can invest and you will get a return on your investment, and hopefully that return will allow you to step away a few days from your nursing job. And she took the leap. She trusted us. She said, I want to back other women. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think you're incredibly brave, and I think you're incredibly credible. So we were like, oh my God, it's our first investor. How amazing. And she still invests with us today.
Nice.
And she's part of our team. And she hasn't done it herself yet. She hasn't maybe got the confidence, the expertise, or maybe she just doesn't want to buy an investment property. But her money's working for her through our business.
I think that's really important that you've kind of said that, because I think people think their access to property is only through ownership, and it's more the courses that my brother's done made me realise, like, oh no, there's different vehicles and different ways of getting there. And like you say, if you don't want to dip your toe in, I think there was a builder I used to work with who now builds developments. Like, he's huge.
Ground up.
Yeah. And he started very much, he gave somebody some money.
Yeah.
They built a house, they flipped it, and they did whatever, but he didn't do the work. And then eventually he learnt the process, and now, like, he pretty much builds, like, say, he gets a plot of land and he builds 5 or 6 houses, and he's absolutely, like, loving it. But it started with that, I don't know what I'm doing, here's the initial investment.
Else,
and it's a bit, I think it's probably that bit in between, isn't it, where you're not fully jumping in, but also you've got to trust, because I imagine there's a lot of sharks out there that'll be, give us 10 grand and we'll give you 20 back. So that's quite interesting. But it's lovely that you found, and I think those people will probably naturally draw to you, won't they, over time?
The majority of our investors are women.
Right, and nice.
And I think we never set out to be like the Powerpuff Girls. I think it's just because it is a male-dominated industry. I think when women are watching you from the sidelines on social media, or they hear from their friends about what we're doing, they kind of go, the 3 women, like, I'm going to investigate, I'm going to find out a little bit more. And there's this, like, natural trust, and we feel like they're part of the team as opposed to just the bank for us. And we keep them in the loop. If they want to come and see the projects, they can. So that for us, that was the turning point, that somebody trusted us, would back us, and then it gave us kind of that, we can do this, we're doing it, and we're doing it using other people's money. And
it's only that proof of concept you need once for the confidence to go, hey, we've done it for this person, here's the next.
And then, so another woman who works in the corporate world, super astute, she was from Poland. She reached out to us and she said, I want to invest, I want to buy a property. Can you girls help us out? So we were like, you can jump on some Zooms, we'll have a chat, we'll talk about what we're doing, see whether we can help. Fast forward a couple of months, she decided to invest, but as part of the investment, she said, I want to learn. So
Okay.
we were like, we're not coaches, we're not mentors, we're not these experts, but we were like, we can do our best. Like, we will meet you fortnightly, and whatever it is that you need at that time, we'll plan a session. So it's like teaching, basically.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
planning, we were sitting together, figuring out which one of us had the best kind of knowledge of that area that the lady needed. So we did that for a year, and she, first of all, she couldn't pick up the phone to ring an agent. She was like, they're going to judge me because of my accent. I'm a woman on my own. I can't do it. And I was like, you've got to pick up the phone up. Otherwise, you're never going to get any viewings. She's like, I can't. I was like, you can? She's like, I can't. So we went through this like baby steps, and like fast forward now, it's 18 months on. She's got her own investment property. She's doing a strategy that like beginners probably wouldn't ever dream of doing. And she's thriving, like, and that is amazing. So she's
Nice.
being part of the team, but now she's doing her own thing, and we're asking her questions like, how do you split titles? Tell us what have you learned? Like, come and give us your knowledge
Yeah.
now.
That's so lovely. And I think that's also something you don't always get in a male dominated environment, is that share of ability and skills. It's kind of like, I need to protect it because I've learned this and this is for me, unless you're going to pay shitloads of money for it. Whereas to freely give that, it gives you, not only that, it's going to give you presence within the industry of like, they know what they're talking about because of all these people that are following footsteps. Do you see that something in the future, like potential coaching?
Potentially, I think obviously as teachers, it lends itself quite nicely to teach alongside kind of helping people out, but it's not in the immediate kind of 12-month plan.
What is the big plan for?
The big plan is eventually we'll all step away from full-time work. At the moment, the reason we don't is because we all still like our jobs in some capacity, and it gives us that kind of safety net. But it would be to step away from the jobs. For me and Tash, it's to have more time to travel, to not be restricted by school holidays, expensive flights. And it's not to be rich, like, that's nice, but it's not that. It's to have been successful in something else, to have the freedom to be able to do what we want when we want, and also to be able to help people. So one of my biggest drivers is that my sister's got Downs, and my mum will be getting older in the next 20, 30 years, and eventually I will care for Meg, and I want to be able to not be rushing off to work or not have a big enough house, and to be able to do that and to do that comfortably, and just to have the time and the money to be able to help everybody and that's around me that I love.
No, I think it's what most people want, but are unwilling to make the jump to achieve that. And it is a long process. It's not this quick fix that we're always sold on social media of like, you can get there in a few years. No, you can't.
No, you can't. And that is the biggest myth. When I started, I was like, woo, we've got a HMO, we're going to be loaded. And I'm like, no, we're not. But, it's the all of those little tiny risks and decisions have led to where we are now. And we were sat in our like New Year meeting, goal setting, and we were looking at everything. And our portfolio on paper, like as an asset, is like at 2.5 million, and gross rent is like £20,000 a month, and that to me is like surreal.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like it's crazy, and we hadn't sat down and looked at it in that way, and I was like, oh my God, we've actually come really far.
You've built a beast, yeah.
We're building something, and we're getting there, and what we're doing is right. And when you get those little successes and you get those little wins, you're like, right, keep going, because it is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, we're on Zooms all the time, we're meeting people all the time, like, it's constant. It's like working two jobs.
Yeah, because then there's once you've got the properties, there's then the management, there's the longevity of it, there's the changes in government and
policies,
tax, and that is quite overwhelming. It's a move, and I feel like property gets a bad rep, but it's always like, it's a bit of a cycle, isn't it? There's good times and there's bad times, and I think those that only want to ride during the good times when house prices take a bit of a dip, and they probably aren't that successful for the ones that can ride through it, whatever the 10 or 20-year cycle is. But I remember, this is probably what influenced me buying a property, was it must have been about 10 years ago. My brother was reading the Times, and he was like, oh my God, like the top 10 people in the Times magazine in Britain, they're all property owners. And I think you can look at that and get a bit carried away by it because they might have inherited property. A lot of it might be commercial. Like I didn't realise, stupidly, that insurance companies buy up commercial property. That's how they make their money. And I was like, what? I thought it was just from our money. And they were like, no, they need to invest that somewhere. And then big companies that buy small companies, they then buy the assets of the properties, and that can be, you know, I didn't realise, I was chatting to a girl who worked for an agency in Liverpool, and these high-rise flats, she was like, there's no British owners. I've sold like 6 floors to a Chinese company before any Brit has ever got any like plans. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we've got investors from all over the world. You know, and that makes you think, well, it's comfortable in the British market. I know there's this kind of, in fact, we'll get onto this. It won't put you in a difficult position, but ethically, some people are against second homes, but I keep quiet a little bit on it. But the market doesn't work without rentals.
Nope.
And
there's so many people that need houses.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of people that don't want to own because ownership. And I think there's a really good podcast and a guy that talks about it in America. Ownership is hard and is expensive. And we as Brits are taught, which I think is a bit of a shame, to own a property. But
Go
it's
to
not
university, buy a house, own the house.
Get this thing
clear
around your
your
neck.
mortgage off.
And then die.
Yeah, that's it.
So are there any perceptions within that has changed for you or that you are really passionate about telling people about?
So in terms of, we invest in something called a HMO, which is like a house of multiple occupancy, and that's kind of our main strategy at the moment. And they get a bad rep. And they get a bad rep because we're putting multiple people into terraced houses or semi-detached houses, and the perception is that it's people who are on benefits or it's social housing, and we're changing the community of the street and the feel of the street. And yeah, I do think there are people doing that, I do. But there is, for us, we believe that we're creating homes for people, amazing spaces for people that can't get onto the property ladder themselves. And the demand is there, all of our rooms are filled. And we spend more on our refurb and our builds than we do on the actual property itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So these are nice places to live. You're not just chucking in like a shitty desk in the corner for a student.
No, they've got like their own kitchenettes, some of them. They've got en suites. They're design-led. We sometimes bring on an interior designer. They're like little tiny hotel rooms, basically. And we put kind of we care about the street. We want the neighbours to come in and go, oh my God, I didn't expect it to be like this. We want them to be happy that there is a HMO in the street. And I think that comes with caring about how the tenants are going to live when they're in those rooms, spending a little bit more money on things. So I get the perception, but for us, we're trying to do everything right by kind of our vision and our ethos and by the people who live in and around those second houses and those tenants and people who are renting. Yeah,
and I love that. And anyone that kind of, I always say, go and look at what like the Dutch do or like the Scans, because they don't. A lot of them don't own their own houses, and like it is a rental. It's just society tells us here a different story.
They do.
Well, I think it's amazing, and yeah, I think there'll be a lot of people that listen to this that are kind of inspired to, you know, they might have a little pot of money and they want to get started, or they just at least want to, you know, scratch an itch of like, oh, is this something that I can do? And by you sharing your story, that allows other people to have a bit of hope, and also they can potentially reach out to you and maybe ask you some questions. So
we're always like, I love a conversation, even if it doesn't go anywhere, just to hear where people are at and what they kind of want to do or what their goals are. But taking the leap and just doing it is the best thing that people can do.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Well, I think we have got time. Yeah, I'm going to ask you, what can you give yourself a dare? You're going to give it on behalf of the other two as well.
Okay.
A dare that you're going to do in the next kind of 12 months. Doesn't have to be. You can go and swim back with sharks if you want. Doesn't have to be property related.
I'd love to do that. The other two won't want to do that though. So I have to think of something. Just to take some more risks. For me, I'm very risk adverse. Sophie is the most risk adverse, and Tash is somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And that helps because it balances us all out, and we're a 3, so it's a diplomatic vote all the time.
Right.
But to take some more risks, we can do it. We know we can do it. We've repeated our processes, our systems, and taken those risks, maybe taking on a bigger deal, and hopefully to kind of step up to the next level.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see where you go.
I know.
And where can people catch you?
Instagram's the best.
Yeah.
God.
It's Propeller. I'll put it in the description.
I can't remember it. It's Tash. I don't do anything. If you see any awful posts on social media, they've come from me. Like #property.
Nice. Well, I'll put a link in the description for everyone.
Amazing.
And thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Amazing. You're up for doing a quick 5-minute bonus where I just ask you some random shit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're back with another bonus episode with Amy. Amazing interview. I guess questions. If there's a billboard for the world to see,
Oh, God.
or outside one of your properties, what would you write on it?
Jeez.
I never prep any of my guests for these, and they're
This
like,
is
"What are you
hard.
doing?"
What would I want it to say? This is cheesy. I
fine.
don't like it, but step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, it works.
Yeah?
Yeah, that works totally.
Okay.
And as somebody who's perhaps listened to your episode and they're like, right, what's the first step for me to dip my toe in the water with property? What would you advise that they kind of do, the first initial step?
Educate themselves.
Okay.
100%. So before they make any decisions, exchange anything financially, educate yourself, and don't pay for courses. You don't need to. There are so many podcasts, so many amazing people out there giving free advice. You've just got to submerge yourself in it, read books, listen to audiobooks. If you drive into work, you've got a long commute, learn like as much as you physically can. And once you've done your learning, decide what is your strategy, because the overwhelm of the different things that you can do, buy-to-lets, HMOs, serviced accommodation, there's so many things, and there's always a golden penny. So at the moment it might be serviced accommodations, what's going to get you financially free, but that might not actually suit your finances, and it also might not actually suit what you want from property. So educate yourself, find what your strategy is, and then take the leap.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Go for it. And what's one of your biggest learnings or biggest mistakes that you would like scream at someone, don't do this?
Don't procrastinate.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though we have moved and we have progressed and we are where we are now, I think there was months, maybe years, where we were in that analysis paralysis stage that we talked about, where we were on spreadsheets, we were going, well, this isn't all money out, and he's getting all money out, so let's not do it. And there's the biggest regret is there's these 2 properties together, side by side, and we offered on them, and we wouldn't budge for just £5,000 more to get them. And I've watched who bought them, because I follow them on Instagram, develop them. I've watched them change them. Honestly, it haunts me.
No.
And the end value that they've got from the work that they did, which is what we would have done, is
insane.
Huge. It would have been a game changer at that time for us.
Yeah, those are the hard things to let go of, aren't they? Like some things that you don't say. I think that sometimes I use that as an excuse to say yes to everything, and that should not be the case either. But investment. There was one investment. I don't think I've ever spoken about this on the show, but you know when NFTs came out.
Yeah. The artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bane of my life. I invested in not too much money, but I was going to spend, I think it was like $350 at the time, on women. I can't remember what it was, but it was focused on women.
£350 or
£350, yeah. So it wasn't a huge amount of money.
It was going to say 350,000.
No.
I was like, oh God.
But they each went 3 years later for the minimum was £1 million. So Paul Logan tried to buy up a lot of the collection, and I don't know why that one specific, but I remember I was in Cornwall and I got back from holiday late, and I didn't get my bid in to get one.
Oh no.
And that's been a thorn in my side ever since. But I did buy one that is now worth £12, so I'm super happy about that. But this is
You
life,
do,
right?
yeah, it is.
This is
it
life.
is.
You don't perhaps do it again.
You know, and there's always things like that I'll go, why didn't we do that? Like on the cube, I left with 5 lives. And
Did you?
Yeah. And I was like, I know, don't debate that. Because I'm fuming about it still.
That's I have this conversation when we watch the 1% now. I'm like I think I'm probably the other end of the spectrum in terms of risks.
You'd take the £1,000.
Yeah, I go all the way or nothing.
Yeah, I would want to go all the way.
Yeah,
And you're only there once.
Yeah.
And I just, honest to God, anytime I have to talk about going on the cube, it just comes back to me. I'm like, why? I could have done it. I know I could. And I had like my mum panicking in the audience. And she was like, Amy, no. And I was just like,
yeah.
Okay. And in my head, I've kind of sold it to myself. It's a better feeling winning 50,000 than it would have been 100 if you compare it to losing 50 and me going home with nothing.
Yeah, and also like I think people
you can
don't
confirm that that's the truth.
Yes, the truth. That's very much yeah. And also when you're in that situation, a live TV show.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, the pressure.
I know. So, anyway.
Yeah.
That's another regret. You've lost £1 million. I've lost. I left with 5 lives.
I'd already spent mine in my head as well, and I was like,
You do.
"Oh, right, yeah, it's all gone." Oh, fucking hell.
But it's not meant to be.
No.
If it was meant to be, it would have happened.
Yeah.
That's what you just got to say to yourself, I think.
Yeah. And finally, is there kind of anything that you, like a mindset or something that you've learned recently that is kind of changing the way you approach things? Although you talked about the procrastination, but is there anything that's clicked in you that you're like, "Oh, this is working for me"?
Yeah, I think not that I worry, but like I used to kind of go over situations, like if it was in school and I had to phone a parent, for example, and I'd be like, have I said the right thing? What's going to happen tomorrow? Are they going to ring back? Are they going to complain? And I used to go obsess about it like at home and ruin the evening. And then the next day nothing happened. And I was like, why have I wasted all of that energy? And like in the first like couple of years of doing it, I was like, are we making the right decision? Oh my God, look at my bank account. I'm spending this money on architects. Is that right? Worrying about it all the time. And now I just kind of just think, what's the point?
Fuck it, yeah.
Just so much energy taken away. Just do it, see what happens.
Yeah.
And if it goes bad, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice that you've got that support team of the 3 of you as well.
That's it. That's the biggest thing, the team.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. You've been awesome.
Thank you.
Great.